Alright, welcome to the series on algebra. And in this introductory video to algebra, we're going to have a look at polynomials. So polynomials are formed by the addition of algebraic terms, and we can have many or few. And an algebraic term is something like x or x squared, or multiplied by a number. It could be 2x squared. So polynomials are formed by the addition of algebraic terms with positive integer powers and possibly a constant term. Possibly a constant term. So it doesn't necessarily need a constant to be a polynomial, but if it has a constant, it can still be a polynomial. So this might all seem a little bit abstract, so we'll just take a look at some examples to see what are and what are not polynomials. So an example of a polynomial would be x to the 5 minus 3x to the 4 plus x squared minus x plus 5. And this is easy to see that it's a polynomial because we've got the addition of algebraic terms, and when I say addition, we're adding all the terms together. So the first term, this is the first term, x to the 5, and then including the negative, this is the second term. So maybe another way to write this out, to clarify this point, would be x to the 5 plus our second term, negative 3x to the 4 plus x squared plus negative x plus our constant term. So this is our constant term. A constant is just a number, so it doesn't have a variable involved in it. So if we had a y here or something, or a z, if that's variable, then it's not a constant. But 5 is a constant, and for most of the constants in leaving cert, they'll just be numbers, so it's easy to see. So our first term is x to the 5, our second term is negative 3x to the 4, our third term is x squared, and our fourth term is negative x, and then our fifth term is our constant term. And the numbers that are in front of the algebraic terms, the x's and stuff, they're called coefficients. So we've got a coefficient of 1 here. Got a coefficient of 1. We've got a coefficient of negative 3 attached to our x to the 4. We've got a coefficient of plus 1 attached to our x squared. We've got a coefficient of negative 1 attached to our x. And then we have our constant term again. So this is sort of a dyed-in-the-wool polynomial. It's very easy to see because we have, it's even in the order that it's in, we have like reducing powers. So we've got x to the 5, x to the 4, x to the 2, x to the 1, and our constant. So let's have a look at something that isn't a polynomial as a non-example, because it's usually helpful to see them. So something that's very easy to see that's not a polynomial is sine x plus x squared. So this term meets our conditions in a polynomial. So this is an algebraic term with a positive integer power. But this term is not an algebraic term. So an algebraic term, and I've just copy and pasted from Wikipedia, a term is either a single number or a variable or numbers and variables multiplied together. So as we'd seen above, just to recap, something like x squared, 2x, or 2x squared is an algebraic term, but sine of x or ln x or other things like that, strange beasts, aren't algebraic terms. So some more non-examples would be x to the minus 2 plus x plus 3, because you've got a negative power of x. So that's not a polynomial, can't be a polynomial. But some polynomials might be hard to spot, like is 3 a polynomial? In a sense it is, because you can have an x to the 0. I mean, it's also a constant term, and constants are polynomials. And also if you had, say, 3 minus x squared, that might be hard to spot that it's a polynomial, but if you put it in the form minus x squared plus 3, we've got an algebraic term with a positive integer power of x, and we've got a constant. So this is a polynomial. Some other ways to classify polynomials are whether they're, say, binomials or trinomials or whatever. So a binomial expression contains two terms. And a trinomial expression contains 3 terms. Okay, I think that's well, maybe there's a little bit more to do. We have linear and quadratic and cubic polynomials as well. So a linear polynomial contains terms no greater than x to the 1. So its highest power is x to the 1. So an example of a linear polynomial would be x plus 2x plus 1. So you've got all x to the 1 here. And a quadratic polynomial, which you'd have seen before, is something like x squared plus x plus 11. So our highest term is 2. The highest power on any given term is 2. That looks like a minus 2, but it's just 2. And then we have cubics, which have highest degree 3. So the number on the powers is called the degree. So I'll just do a new slide here, just for some extra jargon. So the numbers in front of the terms are called coefficients. And the highest power is called the degree. And this is called a constant term. So that should be a sufficient introduction to algebra, or well, polynomials. So I hope that was helpful, and thanks for watching. Hopefully see you in the next video. Cheers.